Anyway, what y'all got, man? What you got, Bill? Because I want to ask Bill, you know, with all of first thing with this headset thing going on, being a man in the position that you've been in. I mean, man, what do you think about that, man? Just tell me what you.
Well, I've been very upset because the administration has been misleading the public in what happened. And I listened to the hearings today, and I got angry. First of all, they went before Congress talking about what happened like this was intelligence. This wasn't intelligence. This is what we call OPSEC, Operation Security, which everybody in the military knows. If you're getting ready to go on a mission, you keep your mouth shut. You don't talk where you're going or when you're going to go. That's OPSEC, and that's classified. Mm-hmm. The other thing that's not intelligence is ComSec, Communication Security, which you don't tell them what kind of stuff you got in that comm center there, and you don't let nobody get the stuff that's in there, which I won't talk about, but it's stuff in there you want to secure. You want to make sure that the phones you use are proper. I mean, when you go to a command center, you got to have special phones and all that, and you don't talk on certain phones. That's ComSec. Intelligence is what you get so that you can advise decision makers so that they can avoid crisis or they can manage crisis. And so when they were talking about no methods and that were revealed. Well, hell, no, they weren't, because that ain't intelligence. Right. What we're talking about is not intelligence. We're talking about operation security, which is something different. And the other thing is that they lied about, Pete, it's up to, this is Tulsi Gabbard. It's up to Hegsteph to determine what's classified and what's not classified. Well, when let me tell you, when Hillary Clinton did that, what did they call her? Lock her up.
Absolutely.
And the tragic part about that, the executive order that specifies how you handle national security information and classifying it was written by Barack Obama. Mm. And normally when a president comes in, they will change it. Barack wrote the most extensive executive order on protection of classified material and how you classify it that I'd seen. And Trump, I laughed during his first administration. I laughed because he was doing stuff that was breaking the executive order that he never rescinded. Like when he talked about when he got out of, you can declassify stuff on mouth. Mm-hmm. No, you can't. Yeah. An executive order, it's 13256. I just copied it down. I just looked at it. I used to have it when I was into this all this stuff. But Trump, the idiot, never rescinded it. It's still the executive order that determines that stuff. So you had people today talking about Pete Hegsteph could declassify stuff or classify it. The truth of the matter is, in some places, if you're in a certain position doing a certain job, classification authority has been delegated to you. How do I know this? Because my first job in the military was a Morse intercept operator.
Oh, okay.
Back in the 60s. That's how I know it. That hadn't changed. That stuff is delegated down. But So that has me angry, because not so much at the ignorance that's going on, but angry at myself because maybe I should have talked about this more. But it's so much misleading information that's put out there, and what Bobby said is true. Those people need to be held to task for what they did. But it's this president. What's really got me in a boil is it has nothing to do with that stuff. It has to do with something he did today. He wrote an executive order saying that in order to vote in a federal election, you have to prove that you're a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
That's not within the president's purview to do.
He has no
The
power.
original Constitution itself said nothing about who is eligible to vote. They left it up to the states. And if you look at the history of the United States, immigrants who came here who weren't even citizens have voted in elections.
Absolutely.
But he's going to put that out. And you know what he's doing? He's putting out edicts like he's a king. So I've been referring to him as King Donald the First.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
King Donald the First. Because he puts that out there like somebody's going to comply with it.
Right.
And in order to get it declared unconstitutional, you have to go and take it all the way up to the Supreme Court, when all you have to do is read the Constitution. The U.S. Constitution says nothing about who is eligible to vote and who's not eligible to vote. They left that up to the states, and the states decided the only people who could vote were white male property owners.
Yeah.
And the changes that have been made to that have been made by amendments to the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it so hypocritical that he's doing is these are the people who got rid of the Voting Rights Act. So the federal government didn't have the right to put those things on states.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the whole thing behind everything. Everything that's going on now has to do with one thing, and it's trying to make people like us obsolete.
Exactly.
You know, we're not people, and that's the whole thing behind it, because he knows he doesn't have the power to do that, but that 30% of the country that truly believe in him, the other ones were stupid. That 30% that truly believe in him, right? They listen to that and they go, oh yeah, he can do that. He can do that. Well, they didn't listen in school either. If they took any American history at all, you know, they didn't listen to it. Even though it was about the other side, they didn't listen to it because they didn't learn anything about how the Constitution and everything works, how the government works in the United States. They didn't listen. And the biggest thing, one of the biggest things is that people don't understand how the government works. And I think I said this before. The government is not in business to make money. It's in business to service the people of this country. The only thing in the government that has any kind of account is Social Security. That's the only savings account that the government oversees. And it's not theirs, it belongs to the people. They just oversee. But it's so many people in this country that go by what somebody tell them and not really know how the government works for them, right? Oh, it's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's there to work for you. And if you need something and you got to go to them, you might have to go to them 5 or 6 times because of the way that the system works. But it's there to work for you. And people like the people who believe that he's doing such a great job, they don't know what the government's supposed to do. But now it's starting to crack back on them. because the stuff that they thought was going to hurt a certain group of people are now coming into their household. And Chester, you mentioned about the eggs coming down. Eggs can come down all you want. If you ain't got no job, you can't buy the eggs.
That's true.
Hello.
I mean, the eggs can come down to 50 cents. You ain't got no job. You can't buy no eggs.
That's right.
That's just it. And he taking them from you.
Yeah.
You know, the jobs that the immigrants were taking.
Yeah.
Now he's taking those jobs from you. And he said when he took the jobs, oh, you'll be all right. You wasn't working anyway. And you voted for him, but he tell you wasn't working. Because you was sitting at home, you wasn't working. So you don't need it. But he goes and play golf every day for $3 million, $1 million to $3 million a shot.
Yeah.
He making more than Tiger Woods is just going to the golf course. He ain't even got to swing the club. He already spent $3 million.
Right.
He already got $3 million of your dollars.
I'm telling you, one of the things he's trying to do, though, when he does all of these executive orders, is his ultimate goal. He figures he stacked the Supreme Court. And even no matter how crazy it is, his goal is to get it in front of the Supreme Court, because he figures that 5 of those guys he already got in his pocket. If he gets the 6th one, he's good to go. So his goal is not to make anybody go one way or another. His goal is to have everybody fight it and get it to them guys that he already set up on the Supreme Court so he can try to change it. That's what the ultimate goal is. That's why he keeps putting out these crazy executive orders. The ultimate goal is to get it to the Supreme Court. That's what's in his hip pocket. And he's lost a couple of them. Robert to go his way. But
you're right. He done lost Roberts and Barrett.
Right, but that is his game plan. That's the whole game.
That's all of their plan is to throw everything out there.
Right.
If you don't see what's going on, and definitely Musk trying to take the whole bank from the government. Right, but the thing is,
he's robbing the government. Yeah,
what's that?
I saw with his contracts, Musk is getting $8 million a day from the federal government.
They talked about that. They said the average person on Social Security makes about $65 a day or something like that.
$8 a day, right?
Where he's making $8 million a day off of the government.
Right, 100 contracts,
but
$8 million a day. And what he's doing is he's going in there and he's not even competing, because anybody that would be a competitor, he's doing something in the government to try to take them out of the game, so they can't. He has no big contract.
Yeah,
and nobody's vetting him.
What do you think? What do you think, Mac?
Hey, I'm gonna go back to what Bill was talking about in the security thing. I started in the middle of my Air Force career. I was a network administrator at the Pentagon. I had a 32 workstation VS-85 wing, and they were hardwired coaxial cables. And we had people to come in and sit out in the hallway and try to intercept the electromagnetic communications. And they could. So I can only imagine what somebody could do on signal chat. It just blows my mind that they would even I don't know. It's just beyond imagination.
Here's a nugget too. The boy that's head of the CIA, right? Radcliffe. Yeah. Y'all know who he is, right? That's the joker that kept beating Hillary up. Him and the boy from South Carolina, Gowdy.
Right.
They were the ones that kept beating Hillary up about her thing with the using the phone or the text messaging on her phone.
Right.
Right. though he was one of the main ones that was doing that.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
the other thing that had me kind of steaming was I listened to this morning. They had the intelligence estimate, threat assessment by Tulsi Gabbard,
Yeah.
God.
the director of national intelligence.
Yeah, she is.
You know what they have? You know what they have assessed the greatest threat to America is?
What was it?
Yeah.
Fentanyl traffic.
Oh God.
Fentanyl, really? That's what they say.
Yes, fentanyl coming in, and we have to stop this, and it centered around immigration at the southern border. I heard that, and I said, well, let me listen to how they go. Now, I was trying to figure out where they prioritize Russia. They prioritize Russia below China. I said, aha. I know that was going to happen because Putin, Trump, and Netanyahu formed the white supremacy triumvirate
Yep, you called
in
it.
the world. So now China is a bigger threat to us than Russia.
That's crazy.
Which I'm saying, first of all, China, the capitalists in America, are not going to let you kill that golden goose.
No.
They made Trump's Bible, sneakers, ties, and probably his suit is made in China.
Absolutely. Matter of fact,
All the stuff that his daughter sells
That's
made
what
in China.
That's what they say. They
That's
gonna
right.
have, she gonna lose all her money because they gonna shut everything down.
yes,
She got about 100 patents over in China.
of course.
So I'm saying, man, this is crazy.
Matter of fact, Elon Musk biggest Tesla factory is in China, which is why he tried to get those secrets to run back to China with.
Now he don't even and they don't even want them no more.
Right. But he was trying to get secrets. They were going to give him that brief, and so he could get that classified brief, and they were going to give him that classified brief until the New York Times got all of it.
So I'll just ask y'all fellas, when have you ever heard of a capitalist killing a golden goose?
That ain't never gonna happen. And so if he could get Trump to do something to hurt China, he would, because that's what Putin's doing. He's working Trump for everything he can get. Milking him like the golden goose. But like I said, he's working Trump for everything, and Trump giving it to him. He's giving him everything he wants. Matter of fact, they listed a couple of days ago. They listed all the things that Putin wanted, and every one of them they gave him. Everything.
Yeah.
Well, that's something we need to watch, because let's see what Trump and Putin do to Zelensky.
Yeah.
And figure if he does that to another European, what the hell is he going to do to people of Africa?
That's right.
Of course.
People of African descent.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only saving grace is I'm hearing that the Europeans are even thinking about even pushing nukes back into Ukraine.
This thing with Elon and these Teslas. Any of y'all ever drove a Tesla?
No, never drove one.
Well, let me tell you, I'm gonna go back to my mom's services, because one of my nieces rolled up. She rolled up in a 25 Tesla. I don't know what the hell model. All I can tell you is it was a Tesla, right?
Right.
So we was at my sister's house again after the services, And I kind of thought back the dude, what his name? I think Mark Kelly. I think he talked about he had turned his Tesla in. But anyway, she rolled up in this Tesla, man. And I had never even been close to one. So I started walking up towards it. It's parked in the yard, and she come out there and she said, "Well, it's got this what is some kind of a Sentry or some got cameras everywhere, man. Cameras are on every angle's got cameras, right?" And so it kind of woke up or alerted itself, and she said, "Well, you got your accelerator. Was not an accelerator, but not gas. It's the accelerator, and it brakes. Everything look normal, but you got the steering wheel and just like a damn TV screen, it sits there, and everything that's going on is on that screen. People walking by, everything." So I roll off, she said, just touch the accelerator, don't hit it hard, just touch it, and just to tap it, man. She started
Instant,
rolling.
instant pop.
Oh yeah. So got on. I said, let me take it out on the highway. So we roll on down. Joe, I was in your vicinity on US 1, coming down the off ramp. And I'm gonna tell you, Bob, if I'd have had you in there and I told you sitting in the passenger seat, I'm gonna lay this $100 bill up here on the dash, Bobby. And when I tell you to reach for it, if you can get it, it's yours. Cause when I stepped in it, like I said, Bill, just like when you release the brakes on them jets and they take off, pin your ass to the seat.
Yeah.
All four wheels just dig in.
Pulling, yeah. It's
Yep,
pure power.
just like a bullet, man, just like you shot out of a damn gun.
Yeah.
And everything, every car on the side, everything is right there on that monitor. You roll up to a stoplight. If you don't stop, you ain't got to stop. It's going to stop for you. When the light turn green, if you don't go, it's going to tell you, hey, look, you need to go ahead and pull off.
Yes, sir.
I ain't never seen nothing like it, man. And I understand why my man said, I'm a tech dude. I love technology. But
Yes.
I ain't never seen nothing like it. Yes, sir.
When you gonna pick up your Tesla?
Man, I can't do I'm going to tell you the truth. If it wasn't Elon, I'd get me one.
I heard they go and
What'd you say, Smitty?
I heard they go and cheap.
Can't do it, dog.
They heard they on sale.
I can't do it. I'd be scared to drive it right about now, man. I'm just scared to drive it.
What scares me most about them things?
What's that?
They can shut them down, and I was reading an article today about they shut down some guy's Tesla, and they couldn't come to it. He couldn't even open the damn door.
What?
All right, so yeah. They had to go to the shop, he couldn't get nobody to tow it. So,
Yeah. And a few years
that
ago,
scares me.
Yeah.
a few years ago, Elon Musk upgraded everybody to the automated driver system, which sounded great on purpose. And just like on your computer, they just push an update and it updates all the cars at the one time. So what they then tell everybody is that it didn't really work because he really hadn't tested it. He beta tested it while everybody was driving it. And there's video of this young group of people. A young girl was driving the car. They had an automatic, and it was in California, either LA or San Francisco, and ended up getting them all killed. Right? So, and the car just took over itself. And they had to drive it, and of course the car, all the sensors didn't pick up everything, and they ended up killing them kids.
Wow.
And there's videotape of it. Those are things that, because he's so embedded with the government, that they won't even talk about. But they had a thing that showed that a Ford Pinto got shut down for a lot less deaths than Tesla already has on its record, because I've been killing folks.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know about all that what's going on with it, as far as killing folks, but
Yep.
I mean, Elon Musk, he's not building anything. I mean, he's just with his money, he's using to hire these smart people to,
Mhm.
to develop this technology and slap his damn name on it. But if it
So
wasn't
like,
for him, yeah, I'd get one, man. Yeah, because I mean that technology, man, you can't beat it.
Well, you know
but
what,
here,
Justin, I
Mhm.
was talking to my wife about that. Me and her was talking about Tesla. We weren't talking about purchasing when she was like, but she was telling me that. Oh, by the way, good evening, everybody, because I'm kind of running behind time here. I had a
Yeah, you
scout
late.
meeting and
I
all that
understand.
stuff. But
What you get?
anyway,
Hmm.
yeah, the thing that really don't frighten me, but the fact that those terminals that you have to plug those things in.
right.
We was talking about where maybe you was out somewhere because you don't have the luxury of half and half. I think there's one vehicle that you got half of it running off gas and the other half running on
Right.
what are they called? I forgot. But
Hybrid.
Hybrid.
anyway, huh?
Hybrid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hybrid.
Hybrid.
the hybrids. You don't have that luxury, but because if that thing starts getting low, you have to find a place to plug that thing in quick,
Hmm.
Yes.
and you don't want to be out there like you were saying down there in the country somewhere out there where there's no place to plug that thing in at. That's the frightening part about to me.
I'm
Uh,
gonna
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell you something I've been watching. So I witnessed this. I'm over in Asia, right? And as you know, most like 60% of the Teslas are built in China. They built a big mega Tesla factory in China.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason Chinese don't do anything by accident. So they, of
hmm.
course, they put their own engineers and stuff in there to produce these Teslas. So they're producing Teslas, but on the other side, China has created their own automotive industry called BYD, Beyond Dreams. That's what it's called, BYD. And Africa, Europe, Asia, they're banned in America right now. But I just passed a whole truck full of them, and they're all electronic cars. They probably have stole all of Musk's technology of his dumbass. They gave him this factory in there, and they stealing all his technology. And
But
the
Smitty, you
the
on
word
point. You
is
definitely
that
on point. But that's the whole and that's the whole problem with them. Trump and all of these politicians talking about China, 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 China. I'm gonna use Trump shit. China,
right,
China, China, China. Right? They talk about that, but the reason China has the stuff that they have is because greedy ass corporations in America wanted to
right.
wanted to make money, so they send all of their
Techno-
everything they want everything made cheap, so they send it to
right,
China. So now
right,
what China does, because if you send it over there, you want it made a certain way, which means that you got to send all of your everything over there. You got to send your
right.
mathematics, you got to send your patents,
They got
everything
every.
got to go over there. So what
Uh,
China does is they take it, and if your patent said they change it to it, and that's no
right,
longer yours. And
absolutely.
that's the problem. And Americans sit back because they so stupid. They don't think like that. They listen to what somebody tell them, and that's really what happens. It's all about money. I look at my parents. My parents, both of them work for Chrysler. Dude
Mm-hmm.
sold Chrysler without really saying anything. He sold 51% of Chrysler to the Germans.
Right, right. I
So
remember that.
now it's no longer an American car.
Right,
It's an American car name, but Germany owns 51%. So
uh,
then Germany takes it and sells part of it to Fiat.
yep.
So and that's all about money. I'd rather for it to go to Germany than China, but still, it's
Yeah.
still
Mhm.
all about money.
Meanwhile,
People in America, they don't see
and they
that
had a,
to tell them what they want what they want them to know,
Mhm.
and they don't check anything out. They don't research anything. They don't say, well, that don't even sound right, because they're so into what they say. Like and I use Trump. You can take that guy and the same 10 words he says, if he talked to you for like what they say, an hour, and oh, he talked for 2 hours, but he say the same 10 words for those 2 hours.
The whole thing,
The
yep.
same 10 words. I
You're
guess he can talk for 2 hours
Uh,
because he's not giving you any substance for 2 hours. He's giving you the same thing.
Yeah.
Or that old song, talking loud and saying nothing.
Well, everybody know that guy's an idiot, man. Anybody with any common sense dude knows that he's an idiot, man. He's not too bright.
No. But he's a con man.
Oh
Hey,
yeah, he's a
Joe,
con man.
I don't think he's an idiot.
What?
He's not an idiot. He's a very smart man because he's smart enough to know that. And think about it, right? Many years ago, he said out of his mouth that if I ever run for president, I'm gonna run as a Republican because they're stupid.
Yep.
Right?
He said,
He's a very smart man when it comes to knowing tactics to get over on people. He's not an educated guy, and by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
He wants to tell people he is, but he's not.
right.
And that's his thing. He's a very smart person when it comes to manipulation, and he does that damn good.
Yeah, well, that's the key to it all. You know, what comes out of his mouth is idiotic because of the fact that he took a comprehensive test that you take. It's like a psychological test that you take when they take you in there to see what's going on in your head. He took that test and he comes back and said, "I matched it out." I'm like, what? What do you mean you matched it out, bro?
He's a smart guy. He aced it. He aced it. He can't. Hey, Joker got 100 on everything. You know,
Listen, the man just won
car, man,
his own golf tournament. How you
I
win your
think my
own?
man said it best. He's a great con artist, man. And there's a lot of them going around. Con artists. They con people. They'll steal your money. They'll take a nickel off a dead man.
You thank him for. They'll steal your money and you thank him for taking it.
He's a mob.
Yep.
A mob boss, a wannabe.
Mob boss.
My boss, right?
Exactly.
He got a
Watch The
mob.
Godfather, you'll see Trump in it.
and you might see him in the Goddaughter.
No, Trump.
Goddaughter.
No, Trump.
Trump
Trump is strictly. I think you're right, Bobby. He's smart, but he's also
We'll say cunning.
a hustler. He's also a hustler,
Yeah.
and he is a.
He think he New York slick. That's the first of all. He think he New York slick. You know, he think he what the boys call it down the street, 3-car Molly.
Yep.
That's who he think he is.
Yep.
You know, we have to recognize that he's in power now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And he's gonna be there for a while.
He's intimidated enough people to carry out
His
his edicts and stuff.
Right.
And the real thing that we need to think about is how do we counter that to protect ourselves and our community, our families and our community. I mean, you know, Chester just came from a memorial service for his mother and his family was gathered there. How do you protect your family, Chester? How do I protect my family given what I see is happening?
Yeah.
That's a thought that needs to be on all of our minds.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, that's heavy, but yeah.
I agree with you, Colonel. But I mean, but really, the only thing, what actually can you do? There's what you've been doing as far as protecting your family. What else is there to do? But to speak, to keep speaking out about it, because this guy has every angle. He's got every angle nailed down.
Yeah, and
But
what he's done is he's tried to put tentacles in every facet of the government so that he can make this thing happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if
well,
you focusing on that one, he put another one out there.
Right.
You know.
Right. I can tell you what Bobby and Chester would have done to me. They would have fought me.
Oh yes.
And
You
they
got fight.
and they laughed. They know they would have fought me
hey, listen,
Mm-hmm.
and kicked me in the butt.
and that's
and
and I was just getting ready to say that. Like, I've already started because I'm already getting people ready for the midterms,
Oh yes.
and
Yeah.
I'm already talking to them about the midterms because and when the midterms are going to be so different, and you see
Right.
town halls that are happening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The midterms is going to be they're going to be something else, and that's why they trying to do this thing with this voting.
Yeah.
Because they knew or they see what's coming down the road. But it's
absolutely.
not going that voting thing ain't gonna help them because that's got to go through the Supreme Court.
Right.
And they're not gonna take people's right to vote away, because if they do that, it's not gonna be a civil war, because we ain't gonna have to be in it.
No.
Because they gonna fight each other. We just wait. We just sit back, and it's gonna be so crazy because they really don't understand what they're doing. Not to us, like I said before. We done fought through everything. You know, Chester and Mac talked about, working picking the cotton and the tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
We done all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it's not going to be a thing for us to be like, oh man, it's going to be rough. It can't get any rougher for us.
Exactly.
You know, some of us, like myself, hadn't been there personally, but we've been there to the point where we've seen and heard what we heard of how it went down.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. So just from that learning aspect, we know that, wow. You know, I didn't know what cotton was. My people from Mississippi.
Right.
I went to Mississippi when I was a kid. Man, I thought it was snow. That, you know what I mean? You ride down the highway, because we had to go on the bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ride down the highway on the bus, it looked like snow. There's so much cotton out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in that aspect, we us who didn't actually get our hands dirty in it, right? We've seen it. We've been a part of it in a facet. We've been taught about it, saying, look, I want better for you because I did this with my hands for you to have better.
Exactly.
well,
they haven't really had to do that.
well, one of the things, what can we do?
Yep.
One of the things that we can do is make sure the people we come in contact with in our community, that they're well informed about what's happening. And I'll just give you an example. You hear people talk about Social Security all the time and entitlement. When you talk to people, we need to tell them that's not an entitlement.
Right.
That's earned benefit.
That's right.
Earn,
Earned income.
we work for
That's
that.
And so we need to fight back on the misinformation. When they talk about SNAP and programs like that, we need to give them the correct information. Hey,
Yeah.
no, well, all these people on welfare, what's the biggest welfare program in America? In the United States.
Farms.
Huh?
Farms.
Farm
That's second. That's the second one. You
Right.
talk about farm subsidies. That's second.
Yeah. Yeah.
First is defense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Defense take all the money. You right.
You're right.
What in the richest country in the world, the richest country in the world, should there be anybody malnourished,
No,
homeless,
no,
anything like that?
With
No.
any health insurance.
Right.
There you go, Joe. Without health insurance.
right.
Right.
Yeah. Uneducated.
There you
There
go.
you
That's another
go.
one,
Hey,
man.
you're right, Mac. And I deal with that one every day.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's shameful because this country don't even get it, right? You got countries that are a whole lot smaller than we are, with a
Yes.
whole lot smaller budget than we have. But they put a whole lot into their education system.
Yeah.
Right.
It may not be everybody,
All
but
right.
they put that money in their education system so that they have a system.
And they start early.
Here's something you can share with people about education. The multiplier effect from education is 6 times. The multiplier effect from public works programs is 4 times. The multiplier effect from defense spending is 0. And
Wow.
that comes straight from my studies in professional military education.
Well,
So if you want to get the best kickback from a government spent dollar, spend it on public education.
Yep.
well,
That
you
gives
know
you the
what,
largest return.
speaking of that, public education, you know, I think back a lot of times, and I think Chester probably can probably nail this down too. Back in the day, I mean, uniforms. Now they bringing out the uniforms for the kids, and every
Right.
kid has to get a uniform. They get the free lunch, and everything in school. But back in the day, them teachers they had back in the day, you didn't have to have no uniform to stay in line back then, because one of
No.
them teachers would call you out. But they, back in those days, they had not they called capital punishment, but
Corporal
they
Corp-
but
Corporal
they had
corporal
they had
punishment.
punishments in school to keep you in line, bro. You
And
if you step out of line, one of them teachers gonna call you on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
hey,
Hey,
listen,
man.
Please
So
says, oh,
it's different times now. These kids now they don't have that discipline attitude. They don't have that discipline installed in them to catch on to what's going on around them. And you was talking about, and I'm gonna go to the other subject too, where that awareness. When you say try to get these people to, you can lay stuff out. I'm the first vice chair of the Democrat Party, and you can lay stuff out there and set up an event so they can come in now to get this information. You won't hardly have nobody.
I
They
know.
don't, because they don't really
Joe,
care. They really don't care. You ask them, do they know what's going on? They don't even know what's going on. I don't even watch TV. I don't even know what's going on.
and you
You know
Joe, could I ask you a question?
what's that?
You referred to the Democrat Party.
Yes.
Please, man. The Democratic Party.
Well, yeah,
And the
okay,
reason,
Democratic.
no.
You know where I'm coming
And
from.
let me share with you. Let me share with you why I say that. I was working on election day. I was working a polling station up here in Spotsylvania, and I asked the guy, "Do you want?" This was a a person of non-African descent.
Mhm.
Sir, would you like a sample ballot from the Democratic Party? And he shouted at me and pointed at me, "You're dumb and stupid. It's the Democrat Party."
Mm.
And so that triggered me a little bit
I'm
because
sorry I offended you, but that's
no,
a that's
you didn't offend me.
because
I just wanted to point out that Jamie Raskin, a representative from Maryland, has said the same thing, is that many Republicans and conservatives refer to the Democratic Party as the Democrat Party as a slur on the party.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of them that they that's the way that when they're recognized, recognized as a Democrat. They're not recognized as a Democratic. They're recognized as a Democrat,
Yeah,
and that's what they use as their title.
that's just a thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I've thought about that hard. Why do you call or don't want to call us the Democratic Party? These are conservatives. You know why?
Mm.
Because the Democratic, when you say you are a member of the Democratic Party, that means that you are a member of a party that practices democracy, that
They
stands for
represent.
democracy. Direct democracy. Now, Republican, if a person is a Republican, that means that he's a member of a party that stands for indirect democracy, because that's what a Republican is. A republic is an indirect democracy.
And they recognize themselves as a Republican. They
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. So you know,
Mm.
a single person is a Democrat.
I
The
agree.
whole party is the Republican Party. I mean, the Democratic Party
Right.
as a whole. As a whole. So
But what we were talking about as far as education, what we've got to do, we've got to look at new venues, because if you're talking to young people, so folks our age, we watch the news, we watch cable, we do all that. But if you're trying to reach young people 18 and above, new voters, they're on TikTok, they're on all these other.
right.
So our biggest problem is we've got to find ways to communicate to them and energize them at their mediums. You can't wait. They're never coming to our mediums. Those things are old news. Even over here, they were. I'm in the Philippines, and over here, everyone's biggest social media thing is TikTok, and that's where all the information comes from, and it affects all elections and everything. And it's the same thing with us. And the problem that we have is we've got, especially in some of our places of power, we've got a bunch of 70 or 80-year-olds that don't understand the venue. And so they're not being able to read, even if they got good ideas, they can't get it to the right people. And so we got
a good push right now.
Yes.
We have a good push right now. Now it's the thing about the push. We got to take that push, and we got to keep moving forward, and also educate the people, and because losing their jobs, losing their, the education stuff is going down. There's such a big push. Now you got to go ahead and take it over the edge, because
you got to tie it to what,
because they giving you all the ammunition.
Right.
You just gotta know how to load the weapon. Right?
That's right.
And
exactly.
that weapon is going out there and telling people like, yo, listen, you can do what you want, but understand that stuff that they were talking about, you're not going to have a country anymore. And that you're not going to have anything anymore.
You're right.
Because you're going to be every day asking somebody, can you do something? That thing they say about freedom, you're not going to have that anymore. They're trying to take everything away from you. Every single thing. And that's why I say every day I go to school, I know the teachers get tired of me. But I preach to them every day about, what's going on. Learn. You got a lot of teachers that teach school that don't know about the government.
Yes.
They don't teach the Social Security thing. I talked to them about the Social Security. They talk about, and I said, there's no such thing. They tell you all the time, there's no such thing as a deficit. There's no such thing as a deficit. If there was a deficit, why would you get money back from the government when you file your taxes? If you owe me money, right, and you give me some money, and I say, I'm not going to say, if you owe me $20, right?
Right.
And you give me 20, or you owe me $30, you give me 25, right? I'm not gonna say, well, look, man, I'm gonna give you $5 back. No, you still owe me money. The government there's no such thing as a daggone deficit.
Well, what it is
Because if
that
it was a deficit, you're not gonna give me no money back. You're gonna take care of that problem.
well they got the deficit is borrowed money on the future.
I understand that, but what
That's
I'm
a-
saying, Smitty, even if you borrowing money,
right.
you're not gonna give me something back
Oh no.
if you can't pay that bill. You're not
Absolutely.
gonna do it.
Right.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to acknowledge is the importance of you, Bobby, and Joe, because y'all have contacts with young people that I don't. So I have to come on the podcast and listen to what you and Joe say because y'all are closer to young people than me. Y'all know what the attitude of young folks is. I don't.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? The thing about it is, like, I was working in the community with the young people, trying to get them uh to come behind Kamala Harris and vote for her. And like I said, the people, they wouldn't come out. We had to get out there and try to. We went to them. We went to them to where they be hanging out at the games and everything to try to pass out literature and everything about the up and coming elections. And see, I just saw some stuff on TV the other day about the Supreme Court. This case about gerrymandering. See, they went in there and they was cutting up all these little local towns, and they was, to benefit themselves, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they done that gerrymandering real good. And, Reverend Barber, I don't know if y'all saw his.
Oh, big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Barber said they was cutting those areas like that with like a precision, with precision. He said with a precision knife, they just cut those areas down where there was a lot of predominantly African American people up in there.
Right.
And so they had that case, and they still haven't resolved that case. This is after the election. So look how much stuff they'd already done before that to help Donald Trump win this election. Then they
Yeah.
put out the voter IDs. Now, before anybody can go up and vote, you're gonna have to show that ID. You
But
know,
Right.
I don't think, and this is just me, and I'm hoping I'm right. I don't think that's going to go through. And the reason I don't think it's going to go through,
well, it's already in place, Bobby. I'm sorry.
but it's not something that they can say that's what you have to do. They are putting it on paper. Yes, they are. They're putting it out in the airwaves. Yes, they are. But that's not a factual thing yet. And if that happens, all hell gonna break loose for real. Because I don't know if y'all heard the thing about the woman that came on there and talked about how she wouldn't be able to vote because she took on her husband's name, and she has another name on her birth certificate.
Right.
Right.
Let that happen. Let it happen and see what happened with that. It's gonna be like it's gonna go back to the '60s when them sisters couldn't get to them people's houses and take care of them babies and wash them clothes and cook their food. Let it happen.
Well, see, you know what?
Them women cut off. They'll cut off everything.
Let me tell you this story, Bobby. There was a lot of people came up there the last minute, and in North Carolina, you have to show your driver's license or some means of ID to vote. Now, if what you have on that roll to vote don't match up with what's on your license, I'm talking about down to the fact that what address you was on.
Oh,
If
yeah.
If you done changed the address and it don't match what's on that voter, you're gonna have to go downtown and get you another ID.
But
And
you
here
know,
you is waiting to the
Joe,
last minute to vote. You're not gonna be able to vote.
but see,
Yeah.
now that's the part I'm with the colonel. That's the part we got to educate.
Yeah, we done that. We done that.
No, I hear you, but I'm saying going forward, because with what's going on right now, and people losing their job because these people think that only government. This is how stupid Musk and them are, because they think only government workers work in Washington D.C.
Exactly.
That's how stupid they are.
And a lot of people, Bobby, wait until till Christmas to go Christmas shopping. That's the way a lot of these people did when it was time to vote. They waited till the day of the last day to vote
they had no gasoline. See, now they got gasoline in them.
Yeah,
They got gasoline in them now because
yeah.
hey,
They-
they need
they-
Yeah,
something.
you
Hey,
you might be
they
right.
needed something to fire that ass up to get out there.
You
And
might
they
be right.
gasoline on them now because they losing them jobs. They losing them jobs, and them eggs costing $9 a dozen. They got
You
something to
might
get
be
out there
right,
for
bro.
now. If they don't get out there off of this, they deserve everything they get.
Yeah, but yeah, they got a burning platform behind them to push them out there.
Yeah, that gasoline out there now.
You just got to give them the right venue so they can go there and get this done. So one of the things is, if they do change these laws, how do we get folks to make sure that they got voter ID to make sure that they can go and vote without any problems? And that's got to be done ahead of time.
Oh no, but that's what I'm saying, Smitty. Now we got they're giving us everything we need to fight with. Now all we got to get the soldiers to understand that their fight is to get to the polls.
Right.
Because now it's now the leaders are the ones are us. We're the ones that understand what needs to be done. Now we got to get the soldiers to understand that they need to follow us to the polls.
Absolutely. And we got to make sure that we got them properly equipped when they get to the front line.
That's right.
Yeah, we already setting up. We setting up for some of the Republicans that are running, that are on the ticket for 2026.
Yeah.
We already setting up. We setting up now to start, like y'all was saying, get these people aware that hey, they're shutting down 2 polling places here already. That's going to inconvenience people.
Mhm.
And then okay, on Sunday, you used to have 1 week, 1 day on a Sunday where you can go and vote after church, and people, I'm gonna get that in. They're gonna do away with that. See, they try. You take one step forward, they try to come up with something else to counter that move.
Mhm.
So you have to, like you said, like Colonel said, we got to get it in their head. It's got to get there.
How do you get the word out? And now, like Colonel was saying to Bobby Educator Joe, you in the are you in the education, Joe? I know you're dealing with the scouts and all of that, and your community thing. But how do you get the word out to these young people, man? These young adults, say 20, the voting age, right at the edge of that beginning to the voting age. How do you actually get the word out to them when they're not they're not engaged, man? They
You got to go to them, Justin.
they
That's
don't
what
watch
we were
TV.
saying. You have to go to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear they hear me talk every morning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You in your school, but they're not voting age, man. Them
Right.
kids.
I'm talking to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because understand this too. When you gotta speak it, because even though you may not do it, you hear it. So that one day it's gonna come around for you. I talk to the seniors, I talk to the juniors, the sophomores, the freshmen, all of them, and I tell my whole thing is to teach, and I teach you about the world and life. I'm not gonna sit down and tell you about one thing, because that's not going to be, that might not be the thing that touches you. But if I tell you about a lot of things, one of them things going to touch you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I am. I got kids now. Every morning they come huddle around the table. I sit at the table every morning before class starts. They come huddle around the table because they want to know what Mr. Jones talking about today.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And when you go into our people, I call them our people, African American people. When you go to them, I do believe, I don't know how y'all think about it, but when they stepped on George Floyd's neck,
right,
that year that they done that, it really motivated our people. It what y'all said, it teed them off.
Yes.
And they hit the polls, and we got Biden in there.
And
and I was hoping that a big event I was not really hoping, but I was saying we need a big event to motivate our people. But our people just We just in that survival mode, and that's the mode we always been in.
And that's what I'm saying, Joe. It's happening. We just got to put it. We just got to bring it. We got to bring it together. The Republicans are giving us all the gasoline we need.
Exactly.
We just got to bring that to the people and let them know that, hey, listen, this is why you need to vote. Because now, one thing they've learned out of this situation right here, that line, my vote don't count. Why I'm a vote anyway?
Now they know.
You gonna vote because them eggs was $10 a dozen.
Well,
You gonna vote because your people, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your niece, your nephew has lost their job in the federal government.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you hear this thing, but what Hegseth talking about the brothers with the shaving?
Mm-hmm.
No, hear that one. What?
He talking about if you get shaving bumps, pseudofolliculitis barbae,
Right.
if you get that and you got it for so long and it ain't cured, you gotta get out.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Hegseth.
You gotta get out the military.
Yeah.
Yep.
So these are the things. These are the things that we gotta carry. We gotta carry to those soldiers that we talking about, Joe.
Right.
If you want to go in the military, this is what they want to do to you because you are a black man.
That's exactly what they're doing.
I'm not saying it don't happen to white men. White men have problems, sensitivity, shaving problems too. But the bulk of them are black men.
You're right.
Absolutely.
So you telling me that because I have a situation, I can't be in the military. I can't fight for my country.
well,
We don't need you.
well.
We don't need you till we need you.
Yeah, they do
One of
all the stuff.
one of the things that we need to do is to compliment Bobby and Joe by canvassing. See,
Right.
it's called ward healing. We don't do that in as much as we used to do it. That's knocking on doors, and not just knocking on somebody's door, making contact with young people once, making contact with them several times, and that takes manpower. But we've gotten lazy. I know in this county that I work, we've gotten lazy because we figure that you can do it with phone banking or
Right.
Online.
Exactly.
or this phone right here. And I've done it over the years, knocked on doors, and I'm probably biased, very biased. I think that personal contact, face-to-face contact, is more important than talking on the phone or text, because you build a relationship with people, and especially if you're able to see them several times and talk to them.
Well, you know, to add on to that, Colonel, that was a great thing you just said right there, because in North Carolina, we have a Democrat governor. We have our lieutenant governor is a Democrat, Rachel Hunt. And everybody we went out because they piled a lot of money into North Carolina. They wanted to make it a blue state. North Carolina was supposed to be a red state, but they wanted to make it a blue state. Donald Trump still took this state overall because we got a lot of rednecks here.
Oh, absolutely.
And well, I shouldn't have said that, but anyway.
You wasn't wrong.
anyway, everything, and we done that because they, like you were saying, they poured a lot of money in the state. They did a lot of, what was that you just saying? That canvassing. They were people shipped in from way in California into North Carolina to do canvassing in Henderson, in Henderson, and we came out on top. I don't know if you ever seen that brother. I ain't gonna call him no brother because he ain't my brother. That guy that was the lieutenant governor, the black guy.
Oh yeah, that's the boy.
You
My
talking
brother.
about that
Oh, Robert.
that the range guy?
Yeah,
That's just the main man right
Yeah,
that
man.
ain't just a man. No way.
there. That's just the
Ain't no
main
way.
man right there.
Uh-uh.
Hey,
No.
before Chester stopped drinking, they used to have little suppers.
That's Robinson. Robinson.
Yeah,
Woo.
yeah.
Robinsons that we know, Chester, back in the day was white dudes, won't he?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, all that canvassing and stuff we did worked out here in Henderson, in Vance County. We got everybody in. They had a super majority in this state. And the person we had down here in Vance County won to break that super majority, because that super majority means that it'll go on the governor's desk,
Mhm.
and the governor signs it, but the super majority can come back and say nope, it can't
They'll
happen.
override it, the veto.
They can override it, exactly. So we broke
Look,
that.
But
We got a Democrat governor and lieutenant governor.
and see, that's the other part that and I used to say that to folks. The thing that, and I go back to, again, to not knowing the government. The national stuff is one thing.
Yeah,
But that local
right.
government stuff, that's what works for you.
Yeah,
And that's
That's
important.
what works for you, and that's what people don't understand. The president don't do anything for you.
right.
Right.
The senators and everything that you send to Washington, the only thing they go up there for, they're your ambassadors for your state.
Right.
So their job is to get stuff for the state. But whether they Republican or Democrat, if your county governments and your city governments and your state governments are not the people that you want to be in there, no
Right.
matter what goes on in Washington, when they send stuff to the state,
Right.
that's where the problems start at.
Mhm.
Because the state are the one that divvy that thing up after those senators and congressmen get it for the state. The state
Right.
and the cities and the counties are the ones that divvy it up. So those are the people you need to be worrying about.
Right. And
You know, don't worry about the national. They got to do what they got to do. You can get them out of there if they ain't doing what they need to do.
right.
But those small governments, those are the ones you need to
And that
make sure are the people in your corner. The people
That's
that
where
are
you
there to work for the masses.
that's why you're starting to see the effects of those little town halls because
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Those town halls
Yeah,
are changing.
hey, and that's gonna set it on fire.
Well, you
Yeah, 'cause
already see that the Republicans themselves don't want to get behind that microphone.
No.
They scatter. Even today, they you put that microphone in them, they looking all crazy, and the stuff that coming out their mouth
Yeah.
don't make a lot of sense. You know what I mean? But yet they still in Donald Trump's pocket.
Because like the man I saw the one where they kicked the veteran out. They said he was yelling and everything.
Yeah,
And
I saw that.
the one lady hollered, "You just scared to get primaried against. You scared
Hello.
Don is gonna spend money, right?"
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Like, if that's what you're there for, then you don't need to be there anyway.
Exactly. That's what you said. Yeah, that's it.
You're
That's
not
it,
there
baby.
for the people. You're there for you.
Yeah.
You trying to line your own pockets.
No matter what you get on your journey while you're there, you take care of the people first.
Let me ask you a question. Y'all was talking about knocking on doors and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Now, in my neighborhood, and I'm gonna ask Mac in his neighborhood, if I'm out in the yard cutting my grass or washing my car, and all at once I look down the road, and I hear these people come walking up the street. Now, first thing I'm gonna think, I ain't got nothing against religion now, but here comes some
Yep.
Jehovah's Witnesses. I ain't got time for that.
Yep.
So I'm going to the house and close my damn door. Okay. Matt, where you live up there in Boston? Is it are you in Boston? I keep asking, is Boston?
I live in a town called Chicopee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
you
near
in the
Westover
neighborhood.
Air Force Base.
Okay.
Mm.
Are people even allowed to come in to your area and go door to door like that, knock on doors? Bob, I know you're in a gated community.
Yes,
No, no,
Bill,
no,
yes.
Bill, you probably in a gated community.
no.
Gated,
Huh?
gated.
I listen to
Yeah,
all of
Joe,
them.
they rolling like that, man. Go ahead.
A gated community.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
man. Hey, living large, Joe. They living large, man.
Them jokers living like at the White House, ain't they? They
Oh
got
man.
security.
Like,
Shit, probably.
like Georgia Wheezy.
But
Hey,
tell me, Matt, in your neighborhood, they talking about people canvassing, coming around knocking on doors.
We
Mhm.
don't have a big problem with it. I mean, sometimes one of the local politicians will be running for something, and they'll come around and knock on the door. But and I don't think I've ever seen the religious sect canvass in my community.
Mhm.
Well,
Mm.
I guess for one thing, we are pretty uh, elderly elderly community. We don't have a
Mhm.
whole lot of kids and stuff out here, and
Mhm.
they, I think they tend to try to get young people uh, or younger people, not young people
Right.
necessarily. And in my particular community, but then you understand that I live in
Mm.
what used to be base housing.
Right.
They closed the base down, sold the
Mhm.
housing off, and they made them into condos. I would think it'd be a good place to canvas because you can hit a lot of doors without walking far.
Mm. Right.
You
Right.
know, when you talking about that going door to door, Chester, I was thinking about now in the Biden during the Biden election, there was not a lot of that going on, that door to door type thing. You know, it's right after COVID. You know, people still wary of going up in somebody's house,
Right.
going to somebody's house. Period. You know, you didn't have to go in, but
Mhm.
you didn't want to. You didn't want to mingle with folks too much during that era
Right.
when Biden was in office. But the thing about it is, those people were, it was the time when also all those Proud Boys and those white national groups uh,
Mhm.
were real active at that time. They had started coming back up. And Trump said stand up, stand back, or stand down, and all that stuff. To them
Mhm.
people, showing his unity with them. But the thing about it, I wasn't going out there. I used to put signs out. You put signs out, and the white people would come and pick the signs up. They'll come
Right.
and just take them up, just mean like that. Oh,
Mhm.
the big sign I put up, Biden Harris. They tear that down. They ride by cussing. They'll take a shot at you. They
Mhm.
put
That's
they ran over a dead squirrel, put the squirrel in one of the girls' mailbox because she was mingling with us. And they were just doing all kinds of mean stuff, so people won't do it. But this time around was different. A lot of those people were locked up
Mhm.
because
mhm.
they were locked up. You
Mhm.
know, even though he let them out,
Right.
he let them Proud Boys and all of them
Yeah,
out.
I think uh, President Obama's campaign probably utilized that door to door
Wow, yeah,
thing
they were awesome.
the
They were
most
awesome.
effective. I mean, he had
Yeah,
uh,
he had the ground.
yeah,
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
had
he had the
a
ground taken
machine.
care of.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he attracted a lot of the LGBTQ community too, which helped him out a whole lot. Because some people, they were there,
Well, and that's why something I don't understand that now. How this guy that's the president now attracts those people when I mean
I
it's
don't know.
obvious they
I don't know
hate
what
him.
happened right there either, back. I
They
really
they
don't.
they trying to listen. I go back to it again. When you want something, if it's something you want, it's something that they want.
There you go, Bobby. There you just
It's
hit.
something that they want. It has nothing to do with him. It's
Right.
something that they want.
Because they got what they
Like,
wanted from Obama.
like the people,
Mhm.
that voted for him, it's something they wanted, and they got it.
Right. They
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 didn't
got
get
they
what
got to
they
they got to
they
legalize
didn't get.
marriage, Bobby.
They didn't get what they thought
They want all the
thought
Mexicans
They
to get
wanted that
out of here.
legalized marriage. They wanted to be able to marry a dude, wanted to marry another dude, and
Yeah.
a girl wanted to marry another girl, and they got it.
Yeah.
They got,
Gentlemen,
but like, for the
could I
same thing.
share a thought? Could I share a thought, gentlemen?
Mm-hmm.
One of the problems that we have with getting people to vote now is that when the Voting Rights Act first came out, black leaders sold voting as a panacea for blacks achieving all their goals. And many years ago, I wrote a term paper on that, and I lectured classes out at Texas Tech University about the vote. The vote is only the first step in, and it's the most passive form of political participation. The people who get uh, politicians to move after they get in office is employ something that we talk about in the military all the time. And I know Chester and Bobby and Joe and Mac and you, Leonard, know it. We used to say about the squeaky wheel.
Mm-hmm.
The squeaky
Yep.
wheel
There
gets
you go.
greased.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
And so what we have to encourage people to do so they won't get frustrated is say, hey, voting for this person to put him in gives you access to place demands on him. It's not automatic. I mean, I had some very educated people that I knew talk about Obama. Well, we're not going to place any demands on him because he has to learn the office. Well, everybody else placed demands on him, but black
Right.
folks, because we wanted him to give him a chance to learn the office. And
Mhm.
Obama told us, if you want me to do something, you have to place demands on me.
Mm.
And
Right.
so one of the things that I try to do when I knock on doors is I share with people that voting is the first act. Now, after we get this person in, we have to put demands on him, like at town halls that Bobby talked about, by calling his office, by
Mhm.
making sure that we communicate to him what we want him or her to do. And too often, I've seen with black people, my vote doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
voted, nothing
Yeah.
happened.
Yep.
Right.
And you know what my attitude is? Did the person you vote for get in office? Yes. Well, something happened.
Right.
We,
Mm-hmm.
you
But
know
Bill,
what, Colonel? We had used the sympathetic approach to face a lot of these younger folks out here. We would always tell them, man, people died so that you can eat.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
died for
You got to take it
so that
further than
for
that.
you to get that right to vote. But that didn't work. It
Well,
didn't really. It didn't
when
really. It may have worked on a few people, but but that is the storyline we used a lot of times. A lot of people died, and still are dying. For that right to vote.
when I was working on base, Joe, what I used to tell the young folks I work with was, especially you're in the military, you're probably the citizen that's more directly affected than anyone else by the vote, because whatever is determined by that office up there, you're going to be the first responder. So you need to vote because it's going to personally affect you. It might catch up with everybody else later, but if you're in the military, it personally affects you, because that guy that you put in office starts a war, the next day you're on a plane. So you need to figure out who you got and who you putting in there because of those things.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what Colonel just said brought me back to the thing, the movie 688, right? Wasn't that's it?
Right.
So about this mail thing, what did that lady do to get her son's mail or get that mail moved? She stood on the 1500 Pennsylvania Avenue in the rain.
Absolutely.
Night, day, all day long.
Yep.
And they got them wondering why she's standing out there. Until she said, look, I'm tired of seeing her standing out here. I'm going to go talk to her.
Right.
So I'm with Colonel on that. That these are the kind of things you got to do. I didn't look at it that way, but now when you and that's why when you talk to when you communicate with people, not talk to, communicate, you learn things, and not only do you learn things, but like I was saying about talking to the kids, something's going to trigger something that somebody spoke about.
Right.
What the Colonel just spoke about, that incident right there brought something back to me, saying if you want it done, you gotta do something to get it done. And you gotta be willing to sacrifice whatever you need to do to get that done.
This is true.
You know, it takes a majority for a guy to get elected. They got to get 50+% of the vote, which means during an election, people have to talk, politicians have to talk in a way so they can get that 51%. But now once they get in, man, the terrible thing that I've seen, I've been to a town hall meeting where my representative got mad because I jumped up and told her she shouldn't be listening to the dude who didn't vote for her. We had a bunch of Republicans in there placing demands on her. They didn't vote for her.
Right.
And she was giving them answers over the people who voted for her. I'm saying, wow. My wife sent a request to the Republican who was in office here. At one time, he was our representative. He was a Republican. She went and asked him to do something. He said, "You're a Democrat. You didn't vote for me. I'm not going to help you."
Well, you know what, Colonel, they're very determined, to keep people from doing anything. I said that the fact I stated some facts some things that we done here to bring out the awareness that everybody's talking about tonight. And I failed to say that we also have the first black mayor in the history of this place
Wow.
installed in this town right here. And just to know that this town right here ain't never had an African American in that position.
Right.
And but huh?
That's tremendously important.
It is. It
You
is. It was a
you kind of
milestone.
muffled. You kind of muffled, Mac.
What town are you in?
That town is Henderson, Vance County, right down right before you get to Durham. Or you got Oxford and all of that up in Warren County. All of that's down this way. But yeah, we got the first African, and the whole city council, besides one, I think, is also African American in this town.
Yeah, she made history.
Yeah, she did. Yes, she did.
I've been wanting to get her on the podcast. Joe, you can't work that out.
I can, but she's so busy. Now, you talk about people. Once they get in there and they get that power, or they get that position, some of them change their tactics. But this lady is still doing the same thing. She's working with gang free. She, where they go in and they try to make a rude awakening to some of these young kids that gangs ain't the answer. At one time we
Did the
had a
crime
lot.
go down? Did the crime go down
Shoot.
since she started that gang free thing?
Yeah, but they still acting crazy, I tell you. I think we're leading the state of North Carolina in gun violence.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
crazy, man. They got some videos out there that you guys wouldn't believe. Them guys just with these damn what are they using, Jay? look like AK-47s,
I'm
man.
using
I mean,
AK-40, some
man,
blocks and all that stuff we talking
throwing
about.
bullets, man.
Man, these jokers shooting like they crazy around here, man. Like the
Yeah.
Wild Wild West.
Yeah. What's the population there in that city? About two grand, maybe.
Well, you know what? Justin,
City limits.
you know yourself. This town used to be full of white folks, right?
It did.
All the white folks done moved out. They don't want to be around these black people.
Yeah.
And I just put it point blank. They just left. They done moved out. They sold their houses and gone in the outskirts. They don't live in the city.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's why we were able to get that mayor position. Then it was a lot of hard work and a lot of knocking on doors and stuff.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
Yeah.
but that's what it takes. What it takes. You want something done, you got to you got to get out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
What do y'all think about this thing that Trump with this ban lifted the ban on contractors with segregation?
that guy.
You know,
Wow.
Listen,
he said he want to take us back, right?
but this is
So
my take on that is this. Back again to the voting thing. My vote don't count,
hmm
right? A lot of these businesses, uh, minority businesses, that means men and women, black women, black men and white women,
Mm-hmm.
they fivefold. They effed around and they found out
Yep.
that he don't care about you unless you in a certain bracket
Right.
financially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it's all about to him, the money.
He don't care about you, and he told them, "I like dumb people."
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When somebody tells you who they are,
You
sometimes
gotta believe them.
you might want to. Hey, it's no problem being around them, but you might want to step back a step and get a whole view, a full view of them.
hmm
Yep.
And if you get that full view, you might want to get a little panoramic thing too going on, so you can see what's going on the side of you.
hmm Yeah.
Did you hear about Jasmine Crockett, Bobby?
What's that?
Did you hear
Texas.
about Jasmine Crockett?
What they do to her? What they trying to do to her?
Well, this is what the whole rundown on that was. She went and she said something about she's from
Oh yeah,
Texas.
yeah. I think I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
She said that the guy was she called him Hot Wheels because he had a wheelchair, Governor Abbott from
Oh
Texas.
yeah.
hmm
Now
Yeah.
they trying to censor her now for that.
But they ain't do that to Trump.
Talk about the handicap.
Do that all
Yeah.
the time.
Mm.
Trump did the whole
Listen,
thing. All right. We ain't trying.
listen, girl, I know she turned me on to the Governor Hot Wheels thing.
Governor
Yeah.
Hot Wheels.
You know what I mean? And to me, listen,
Governor Hot Wheels.
he's disabled, he ain't handicapped, he put himself in that position.
Absolutely.
Drinking and driving.
Mm.
Mhm.
Right?
Mm.
I'm just saying.
Well, he a staunch Trump man now. He was the
yeah.
reason. He was the reason Adams got in all the trouble he got. And you ain't heard not one word from Mayor Adams from New York, have you?
No.
That joker, hey, church mouse.
I ain't joking, man. He done went and ghosted on us, man.
Church mouse. That joker, listen, that joker found him a pew and he in the corner. He ain't messing with nobody. Don't mess with me. I ain't got nothing to say to nobody.
Mm.
That judge told him, that judge told him in court, right? He said, I don't want to hear nothing but yes or no.
Mm.
Adams up there trying to explain. Obviously, you're not understanding what I said. I don't want nothing but yes or no.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy from Homeland Security disrespected him right there on national TV.
Yeah.
He said the next time I come and see you, if I have to come and see you again, it's because you haven't done what you said you was going to do.
Right.
That's what he said.
But that's what he feel. They can talk to us like that.
And then you see the boy from the hood,
Sir.
Trump wouldn't even shake his hand.
No.
Listen, he ghosting.
Mm-hmm.
He tapping him on the shoulder and everything.
he still walked on by. He walked on by.
Yep.
Look, and reached across him like this to
Yep.
shake somebody else's hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
a
he
shame.
know where he stands.
Well,
Yeah.
listen, he did get something that Daddy's back. He ain't get nothing.
Mm.
No.
Byron Donalds ain't get nothing. That joker, he ain't even give him a Tootsie Roll pop.
Mhm.
Not even a
Well,
courtesy.
he's still talking good about his boy though.
Oh, he got to. He can't go down now.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Hey, listen.
He can switch.
Hey, Joe. When you jump in the water, if it's deep, baby, listen. You gonna do one or two things. You gonna sink or swim.
Well,
Right.
boy, I guess my boy swimming then. But what's the other boy name that played on Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids?
Yeah, Mushmouth.
Well, I can't think of it. What's his name, Chester?
Tim Scott.
Tim Scott. That's it.
He said,
You ain't heard a word from Tim Scott.
No.
He said, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids.
Yeah, he do look like that guy.
Oh man, that was oh man, that's crazy right there. I can't even think of his name right now. But
that's Tim Scott.
Tim Scott.
No, I'm talking about the dude
Right.
I can't think of his name either, but I know he used to stutter
Russell,
real bad.
wasn't that Russell?
What's his name? Mushmouth?
No, Mushmouth had the hat on. Wasn't that Russell?
Russell was with the hat. That was his brother. Russell.
Y'all know who Anthony Hamilton is?
Yeah, I know Anthony Hamilton. That's a black dude, ain't
He's a singer.
The singer, right?
Yeah. He
Best of me.
he sang that song. He sang that song when you come from where I'm from.
Come from where I'm from.
There you go. I see you, Tesla.
I see that too.
I see you, baby.
Yep.
Which one do I drink for? Oh, I see the
that?
black and white up there.
Hey, look.
But you see that picture there?
Yeah.
That's where I come from, man.
That's where I came from.
You
Hey,
know,
Tesla, you see that little one right there?
yeah, I mean the optics. Just look at it.
Yeah, but that little one right there, that's the one my grandmama choked me on.
Almost his mom wasn't that close to yours.
Huh? Mac, what's wrong with your mic, man?
My
Mac,
water fountain.
there you go. Okay.
My water fountain wasn't that close to yours.
Nah! Max said I was down the street.
But I mean,
which one of them guys said that he used to go in the back?
My water fountain was round back.
Yeah, around the back.
But I mean, look where I come from, man.
Oh yes.
I mean, Bill, you don't know nothing about that. You older than me, but you don't know nothing about that. Bobby Jones.
Don't fool yourself, Chester.
Well, you didn't tell me that. You told me you was from Washington, D.C.
I caught the tail.
You was born in Washington, D.C. And I know they didn't have nothing like that going on in Washington, D.C.
Every government building was like that.
Really? I mean, that's what I want to know. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Remember old sister?
Is that right?
Remember old sister had to run across the street to go to the bathroom. She had to run 3 miles to go to the bathroom. And she put them on the moon.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, she had to run 12 miles to go to the bathroom.
But I mean, just the optics of that, you know.
Oh,
the water is cold, and all we got is a damn pipe coming through the wall with a little nasty sink.
Yeah.
Hey,
you know.
Hopefully that hole was dug deep, baby.
Yeah.
So you get that cold water.
And I'd rather go back where I lived, right across that dirt road, off in the woods. There was a pipe that was shoved down into the ground, and it was lined with sand.
Mm.
And you take that wood cover off of it, and there was some I guess you call them crawfish.
Yeah.
That was in there for the purpose of, what was the purpose of them, Mac? Putting the crawfish in.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know. Mac, I got to talk to you some more, man, because you didn't pay attention, man, when you was coming up. I guess it was normal, too normal for you, because you didn't pay too much attention. But them crawfish in there to keep it clean. You know, stuff falling there that didn't belong in there, they'd eat it up or whatever. But I mean, I remember putting my lips down in there and looking down and sucking that cold water up and looking at them crayfish down there swimming.
Hey,
Can you believe that?
you want to drink that bad?
Man, I ain't had no choice, dog. What the hell you want? What the hell you mean I want? Hey, look, Joe didn't come from where I come from.
Who
Mac
did?
didn't come from where I come from.
Man, you had look. Let me tell you
Bill didn't
something.
come from where I come from.
Let
Smitty
me tell
damn sure didn't
let me
come from
tell you,
where I
Justin.
come from.
You stay down the street. I know y'all
No,
had a
Joe.
y'all had a
Joe.
swimming pool. Y'all
No,
had
no,
a
no, no,
swimming
no,
pool
no.
down there. Y'all could go swimming in. I swam in Askew Pond, bro.
Hey, Joe. Listen to me, man.
I ain't had no pool. I had to swim in Askew
Hey,
Pond.
Joe,
hey,
I'm
Joe,
from
hey,
Franklinton, North Carolina. My grandparents put
Yeah, I
this
know y'all ain't had no pool out there in
the people
Frankfurt.
that called themselves my grandparents, which we were not blood related. I found out later. Uh, that raised me, they lived in Henderson, but I was born in Franklinton, North Carolina. But Joe, until the age of about 5 or 6, when my mom and dad separated. But up
You
until
came
that
to
time,
Henderson, didn't
man,
you? And you came to Henderson?
no, I went to Baltimore, went to the
Oh,
streets, Hill, went to the street, the streets of Baltimore, man. Woo, Lord Jesus. I mean,
What
with a
part?
single mom trying to raise 3 kids in the city of Baltimore back in the what 60s. I mean, you can imagine what that was like.
that was
And,
nasty, bro.
and she was still young and pretty, and she needed that. She needed a man in her life. So
Right.
man, you couldn't believe the shit I was into.
It wasn't nothing but black people, about
I'm
like
telling you.
Harlem, New York.
Oh man, it was rough, man.
Oh
It was
yeah.
rough. Again,
What,
like I said, when I come up on the rough side, man, it was rough.
Them
Rough.
jokers were so hot they had to take the hydrants, open the hydrants up to get it cool off. It was so
They'd
hot.
open the hydrants up sometime. Now, and
I know they would.
Bill, you was talking about Eugene, and Eugene was telling the part of his story where he got arrested during the riots, 6 day riots, right?
mm-hmm.
And when that happened, man, look, I was in Baltimore then. If you didn't put Soul Brother on your window on your house, they burn your damn house down, dog. Now I don't know what's going on in D.C., but I'm telling you about Baltimore, Maryland, man.
I'd get reports. I'd get reports from my oldest brother.
Uh-huh.
You know where this used to be? Yeah,
Mm.
it's no more. You know where DJ Kaufman's used to be? Yeah, man. It ain't there no more.
Mm.
Everything done.
You know where the Tivoli Theater used to be? It ain't there no more.
Burn them down. He's burning them down. Tried to burn the whole damn city down, man. When King got assassinated.
Hey, lie.
hey, bro, yeah.
Man,
Hey,
you
that's
talk about
that's when I left Wilmington, man.
go up in.
Say what, Bill?
Um,
What did you say?
what part of Baltimore? Because I
What
had
part?
relatives over in Baltimore.
I was on. Let me see. I guess I could call it the north. I was inside the belt line. Um. Let me see. What side could I tell you? Not too far from Morgan State. I could walk to Morgan State. You know where Morgan State is?
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
the state
Yeah.
is. It's a freeway that runs down right down past the
Right.
Morgan
That's
campus.
Right.
yeah.
I-
That's
so I was on that side of town.
695, right?
Well,
I don't remember.
Oh,
I
back then that I think that was 40 back then though, right?
no, I think 695. I think that's the beltway that kind of
That's
goes
the
around.
Beltway.
Yeah.
um
But
my
you know Cold Spring Lane, Bill, that sound familiar to you? Cold Spring Lane?
my aunt and uncle lived on West Landville Street, and that was near a place they call Harlem Park, and it was a theater over there called the Harlem Theater.
Mm-hmm.
That was in when you come in as western part. So, and I used to drive when I was in college. I used to drive a truck to make deliveries over in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And what I remember about Baltimore was when I went there was a very separated city. They had an Italian part of town,
Mm-hmm.
another part over there by Patterson Park.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had brothers piled up on each other in one part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Philly was the same way.
And I know that when I used to go to the Italian part, I make my deliveries and get out of there.
Get the hell up out of there.
Get
Mm-hmm.
out of there. Patterson Park, they said that Patterson Park was rough for blacks, but didn't nobody bother me over there.
Mm-hmm.
I felt at home when I was in the brother part of Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I felt safe.
Yeah.
Even though Baltimore is a pretty rough town, and I just
Today.
I just had my son laughing because there was a boxing match between a boy named Roach from DC and Tank Davis from
Yeah,
Baltimore. And
yeah.
my son was laughing at me. I said, man, this is Annapolis. This is out at Carr's Beach when the
Mm,
brothers from Baltimore and Washington would get together. You know it was going to be a mix.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I ain't live too far from Memorial Stadium, man. I
Man,
know I done broke into that stadium many times and watched what Willie Mays and Frank Robinson and all them boys play baseball when I was a kid. You know, they had no damn money to get in, so we used to sneak in. You know, but but yeah,
Baltimore,
man.
blue collar town, man. It's a rough town.
Hmm. My
But they,
sister still live there.
you know, Frederick Douglass was a boat builder over there in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore, where you go, where Frederick Douglass was over there, boats.
Hmm.
Like he's
It's a,
from Maryland Eastern Shore.
yeah,
Yeah.
Get a chance to go out there. They got I went out to St. Michael's out there in Maryland Eastern Shore.
St. Michael's, Maryland. Yeah.
Yeah, and out there they actually in the museum they actually got his sister's house you can walk through.
Mm.
Real nice setup.
Hmm.
They got a nice little tribute for him out there.
Yeah.
You get a chance. Because that's where he's from.
Benjamin Banneker came from Maryland.
Yeah. What down? Was it Elcott City somewhere in that area? I think Benjamin Banneker. I think so. Down in Ellicott, what do you call it? Ellicott, something like that.
Oh, Ellicott City.
Yeah, I think that's where he was down in that area. Benjamin Banneker. Yeah.
And Baltimore's an exciting place, man. Pennsylvania, up there, some of them nightclubs up there,
Mm-hmm.
off the avenue. I'm just thinking some of the streets there.
What's the horse race? Is it Pimlico?
Pimlico.
Pimlico?
Yeah, then I moved on this side of town. I used to live right up the street from Pimlico, man. But all them areas, man, hey man, it sound glamorous, but well for me, but yeah, it's a rough rough town, man. Rough town. My
This is,
sister, like I said, she's still there. Huh?
we used to say DC was a white collar because government workers, but Baltimore was a blue collar town. So you better be ready to deal with blue collar when you go to Baltimore.
Mm.
Man, I didn't know you had all that history up in Baltimore. Like, and you talk about me in New York and Harlem and Manhattan and the
Yeah,
Bronx
well,
and all that, but yet you done spent a whole lot of time in the city yourself.
it's a little bit about Joe. I mean, and the reason that I ended up back in North Carolina was I got mugged. I mean,
Wow.
man, oh yeah, man, put it on me, man.
At a young
About
age. At a young age.
at a young age, got mugged, man, for about $5. Two dudes,
Man,
For
beat me up pretty bad, man.
For
Yeah,
$5?
about $5, man. $5 coming
man,
out the store, they jumped. You
man.
know, and that's how I got sent back down to North Carolina. And then I was, like I said, I was passed around there like a basketball nobody want to play with,
Same here, bro.
Up until the time that I graduated high school, And I'm gonna tell you, man, nobody was say relatives wasn't passed to anybody that, they call themselves your aunt or your uncle, or like I said, my grandmother, my grandfather, but there was no blood relation whatsoever. And if I leave this part of this podcast in here, some of the people that call me their cousins or whatever, they're gonna find what? So your granddad, that really wasn't your granddad or your grandmother?
Yeah. You find out later on.
Yeah, and I'm not ashamed to tell it. I mean, they were
Same
good.
here.
They did the
Same
best
here.
they could.
Same here.
Man, I was raised by people that couldn't. When I got up into my, the say 8, 9, 10th up to 12th grade, I was raised by people, man, that only graduated from maybe the 4th or the 5th grade.
Yeah. Most of the men, yeah.
So
Yeah.
so they weren't educated. They couldn't read. They would read the Bible. They made sure my ass stayed in church. Well, Joe, you know that Sunday
They-
school and
and they stayed at
you
church.
and all of that. They stayed in church,
They stayed at church.
but they didn't know nothing about telling me to go to college. They
Now,
couldn't afford to send me to college. They couldn't tell me
Right.
how to get into college. They couldn't even tell me to go to the damn counselor's office in school because I thought the counselor was somewhere that kids went that needed some damn, mental help. That's what I thought counseling was. That's how dumb I was, coming up. So, but I don't know. I am where I am now, but where I come from you know, is where I come from and where I
Yeah.
am.
yeah,
And my wife, I'm always talking to my grandkids and telling them stuff. And my wife, she's a New York City girl. She ain't never experienced shit like I have. And she tells sometimes you be telling them they don't understand what you're talking about. I said, well, I just want them to know.
It goes back to what I said. You
Mm,
you gotta tell them. They
yeah,
might not understand it now, but one day something gonna happen to bring that flashback.
right.
Yeah.
and some of them understand what you say, and they hearing it, but yet they act like they don't. But then,
Because the only real
yep,
computer we carried around on our shoulders every day.
Hmm.
That's the only real computer right there. Carried around every day. That joker back up and reboot itself and everything else.
Yeah.
Let something happen. Let something happen. And you'd be like, oh man, that happened to me back in 72.
Hmm.
Why? That computer rebooted, brought it
Yeah.
back to you.
Right there. Yep.
But it's like Bill said a while back. Your that DNA, man, that's inside of us from our ancestors.
Yes. Yes.
Them
yep,
boys, my grandsons that's here that I'm close enough to talk to, man, they're part of me, man.
Of
And I'm
course.
part of my granddaddy and my daddy and my great granddaddy, and that's what they need to understand.
I,
And
and,
what I went through in order for them to be here today, you know.
mm-hmm. and going back to when we were talking about the kids in school, the things that I talked to them about. And one of the biggest things I talked to them about is, being late to class, being late to school, all of that. And I try to get them to understand. I said, how many of y'all have grandparents or whatever that's retired? Raise their hand. I said, they still get up early in the morning, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why Pop Up get up early in the morning, whatever. I said, because they train this thing on their shoulders. It is
Right.
trained, right? And I said, understand what I'm saying to you. If you gonna come to school late, you get into class late, that's not going to change throughout your life.
exactly.
Right.
You are training your brain to say, I got time, I got time. Well, you're not training, you're not telling yourself that, okay, I gotta go cross two highways and here it isn't. And your brain is not saying it. Oh, the brain is, oh, you got time, you got time. But what if there's an accident and you got to be there at a certain time and you backed
Exactly.
up, right? You're not going to get there on time. I said, and understand that everything that you do up until whenever, you are training your mind.
Mhm.
You got people that get up every day. They get up because that's what they did every day for 30, 40 years. They got up, had to be to work at 7:30, whatever. They got up. They still get up at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Don't even set a clock.
right?
I'm over
To be there
Get
at
up.
7:30, and ain't got to be nowhere.
I'm getting up now at the same doggone time.
Mhm.
Because you and that's because that real computer is trained, and you've trained it to say, look, I need to get up now.
Right.
I need to get up. It's time for me to. I got something I got to do. That
Right.
real computer tell you I got something to do. What is it that I have to do?
Well, you see, that's the thing about it, Bobby. Those values that you're talking about, those are values that we were raised as. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We go out and we'll spend all night out drinking and doing whatever we were doing and partying. But yet, when it's time to go to work Monday morning, we was
You
there.
gonna
Right there.
You know, we were trained in that kind of thing, man. You know, and my son, I use him for instance. All the time he was in high school, I had to wake him up every morning to go to school.
Man.
He didn't have that. He finally learning that now as a grown adult. That
Mhm.
appearance, discipline, all of that stuff, pay promptness, being on time, all of that stuff, you know, plays a role in what you're going to do in life.
Yeah. And Joe, I take it back. Like my parents worked the late shift, so they getting home when they get home from work. It's 1, 2, 3 in the morning.
Right.
If they got overtime, they might be getting home almost the next day, right? I got to get up and go to school. I'm an only child. I ain't got nobody wake me up. Nothing.
Me too.
Listen, that bus come out there.
You was on it.
Who? What? I beat the bus out. I hear it coming down the street. I got to go.
Yeah.
Because the one thing I didn't want to do is have to knock on that door and say I missed the bus.
No.
That
No.
was gonna be
No, listen. Because I'm gonna tell you, that's worse than getting whooped. Because you got to hear that all the way.
Cause I grew up just like Chester was talking about. I was passed around, and we just we know what we had to do.
That's right.
right.
And nobody had to tell us, hey man, you know what? You got to go to school. You got to make pretty good grades. You know you can't be bringing that kind of stuff in the house. Those F's and all that stuff. You can't bring that. Nobody had to tell us that. We just done what we were supposed to do.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, they told you, but they ain't had to constantly tell you.
No, yeah,
They ain't had to. They
you
told
might have heard it. You might have heard it a
Yeah,
time or two.
it was laid out. This is what you got to do. And,
Right.
Oh, well, you knew what you had to do.
that was it.
Mhm.
I ain't going back.
And if they had to tell you twice, it wasn't gonna be nice.
No.
And I didn't want my aunt to open that mailbox, and I got suspended from school.
Oh
So,
yeah.
or I got a letter home for doing something I ain't had no business doing. I beat
Oh.
that letter home.
Yeah.
Hey, Don, you don't need to go to the mailbox today. I got it.
Well, I stayed out of trouble, but
Me too.
I want to say this. I may leave this in my podcast, and maybe some of the guys that went to school with me. Joe, I don't know who you remember. We had, and I didn't know nothing about this, man. When I was going to school, we had a ROTC program going on.
Yeah, Air Force ROTC.
Yeah, and I mean, I just see, like I said, I ain't know what the hell Air Force was, okay? But anyway, I see the guys in the uniforms and stuff, you know, the brothers, and some of them, man, we hang out on the weekend shooting ball and, playing ball. You know how it was around that, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I can I fault them, or maybe should I fault some of the teachers? Nobody directed me to that direction.
Right.
Hey, man, why don't you go and go down the hall and talk to Mr. Jones, the ROTC teacher running this program, or even some of the guys that was in the ROTC program that was on the football team. But I guess they was all in one little group anyway.
Yeah, we was.
Yeah, but they never shared that knowledge. And I don't want to beat myself up to say that I was too dumb to chase that knowledge down, because I was into my own thing, driving the school bus and, working, trying to keep my shoes and clothes on my damn back. But I don't know, man. That's just, sometimes our own people, man, just don't share information. I
Well,
mean,
you had some role models, but most of them were like educators. Mr. Ford and them, and you
but
may
they
have
didn't. But
you
they
had a
didn't even
bunch.
push that information, Joe.
They didn't not that kind of information. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't talk. They didn't talk to us
Mm-hmm.
about, hey man, what you gonna do with your life?
Right.
Right.
And you only see the guidance counselor on your senior year on the way out the door.
Like I said, I thought
What's he
guidance
gonna
was
tell you?
somewhere I ain't need to be, man. But anyway,
So
look, we've been over 2 hours,
what?
and I'm gonna need some wisdom from you. But Smitty, before we
Yes.
get to the wisdom side from everybody, Smitty, tell me, you in the Philippines, right? Smitty,
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
what's it really like? I never made it to the Philippines, but right now, what's the atmosphere like for you as a black man
Oh,
walking
it's great.
around in the Philippines?
It's great. It's great. I'm gonna send you some. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop a couple of links in here for you guys to take a look at.
Hmm.
And I want you. I know there's ex-marine. He has like video of some of the things. I'm gonna throw a few links in there and let you guys take a look at. I'm gonna throw you a few links of some of the hotels and resorts and stuff in there, and take a look at that stuff. And then once you take a look at it, we'll get back together and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
But it's a beautiful thing here, and like I say, there's not as many brothers as there are, but there's still a few good brothers out here, and they doing some things. They doing good things. Matter of fact, like I said, I was with some brothers yesterday, and they got a whole team of folks working folks VA packages and stuff. They doing all kind of stuff here. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
So I'm gonna drop some links in there later on. So look for them and just peruse them. I got one of Clark, so you can get. There's a guy give you a tour of the whole base and all that, and I'm gonna throw some links in there. I'm gonna throw some hotel links in there, and then when we get back together again, or if you just want to hit me up, I'll send you some more information if you need it.
What's the flight time over there?
Flight time out of JFK was 16 straight hours. Now, like I said, for folks
Christ, man.
That's a long time to be on the airplane, boy.
No, man.
Here's what I tell you. You know, all of us are GIs, so we know folks in other places. So if you're retired and you got time, I say go see somebody in California, stop off, do a day in Hawaii, and then it break it up. You ain't got to do the whole thing at once. I like to do the whole thing at once because my wife want to get there and she don't want to stop nowhere. But you know, stop in Korea or stop in Singapore. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there that you can do, especially if you got time. And it don't feel so long if you're doing it that way.
I'm gonna think about that one, Smitty.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if you break it up,
They test 17 hours.
Man,
Hey,
you know,
that's a whole day, baby.
well, you know, I went to Korea twice, though, and I know what that flight was like.
Yeah, it is. Go over that international date line.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that was a 747. You know.
so I'm a half a day ahead of you guys. I'm a half a day ahead of you, but I'm gonna tell you, other than a long flight, like I said, you can break the flight up if you don't want to do the whole thing in one stretch. Once you get here, it's good living. It's good living. Matter of fact, I was talking to a brother yesterday, and he moved from, I think he moved from North Carolina out here, and he lived in Okinawa for a while. He was working civil service or a contract, and then he moved to the Philippines. But yeah, he's been here about 2-3 years, and they loving it. He got a nice house. He's doing his thing, and everything in the Philippines is in English, so it's not like you got to learn another language.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's in English. The TV's in English. All the street signs in English. Everything is there. So there's more to do.
I've been waiting for some pictures, man.
All right, I'm gonna send you some.
Okay. Mac, what you got?
I got them, but they don't speak Tagalog anymore.
They do, but you don't have to know it to get around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Joe?
I'm good, brother.
Huh?
I'm good. I enjoy y'all guys, man. Every time I come on here, I enjoy talking with you guys.
I learn some every time.
Bobby?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm like Joe, man. I come on here and give what I got, and I get something every time. I get a couple nuggets to take back. I'll be preaching this tomorrow morning.
Okay. Mr. Jordan, give me some words, man. Something make me feel good.
Never stop growing. One of the things that I enjoy. I always learn something.
Hold on, we got some feedback coming from somewhere. Somebody got something on the phone. You hear that? Y'all hear that?
That ain't me.
That ain't me either.
Okay.
Not me.
Ain't me.
I got some feedback, man. Every time you speak, Joe. Okay, go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry, man, but whatever you saying, man, I'll get some feedback. Go ahead.
You know, one of my buddies said that he learned in school that when a plant stops growing, it dies.
Yep.
Human beings, when we stop learning, it happens to us. So one of the most enjoyable things about coming on your podcast is I learn every person who shares here. And that's very important for me. One tip I'd give is if you get, when I have to fly those long flights, I don't have the money to fly business or first class. So I fly tourists. I come out of the cabin, and if there's a clump of seats, 3 seats that are not occupied, I sneak over there, and when they say the doors are closed, them 3 seats belong to me. So I've already up to
That's first class.
yeah, I've already first class. And that's the crazy thing about international flights, and it's not something that brothers do, man. I've been on flights going to like Turkey or Europe or Australia. As soon as they say the doors are closed, in any place that there's a clump of seat, people are rushing. You think there's musical chairs.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's the way they do. And people pick 3 seats and lay down. They click up the arms and lay down and sleep for 17 hours in them 3 seats.
Fellas, I gotta go. My power's starting to go low.
Okay, Smitty.
So,
All right.
Thanks for showing up.
But like I said, look for, I'll send you some links. I'll drop in there and take a look at them. And then, like I said, just holler back at me later on.
All right, do that, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right,
Well, I ain't gonna hold you guys
catch
up, man. Hey, look, I really appreciate you guys, man, coming out, man, and hanging out with me on the edge, man. I mean, I really do. Hopefully one day that my channel gonna get a little bigger, but it's, you know, some people are listening. I'm getting feedback. I don't know if you guys go back and listen to yourselves talk or not, but
Well, I do.
you know, I got some people that asking questions. I didn't get into it tonight, but I got one young lady. We had brought up the thing about I had and I kind of made. I don't know if Bill, you saw the reel I made. Well, I put on there about the mule fart, and she kind of she found it to be kind of funny. She said, "Well, I want to know more about this mule fart." You know, I said, "Well, maybe I'll get into it a little deep on the next podcast." But I think I'll probably get back to her on a person.
We talking about butt bone.
But the way I made the reel, you know, I was talking about mule farts. I told Bill, I said, "Bill, you don't know about sniffing no mule fart." He said, "Oh, yeah. No, that's not true, Chess." Yes, I did. So she got real kids. What the hell they talk about sniffing mule farts? So wow. I'll get back to her on a personal on up to kind of explain that to her. But yeah, what you say, Bill?
driving the slide.
Huh?
Driving the slide through the background.
Yeah. But yeah, man, yeah, I appreciate it, man, that y'all coming out, man, and you know, talking with me and stuff. But Bill, I want to ask you this before I go. And I know Bob was saying y'all once a year y'all have, what is it, Martin Luther King? Is it Martin Luther
The
King
breakfast. Yeah, the Martin Luther King breakfast. Yeah.
Is that prayer breakfast?
Yeah.
Is anybody invited to that?
Yep.
Well, tell me about it, man, because I'm looking for somewhere to start going, and where is it held?